To start with, I will just give a introduction about how to start meditation in English, and then I will repeat it in Sinhala, and then at 2 o'clock we'll start the Dhamma talk in Sinhala medium. I hope most of you all have certain amount of understanding about the meditation by now, but anyway, just as a formal start, we must try to get a standard method for the retreat recommended. On that behalf, I would like to give some instructions meant for beginners. So this is a Buddhist meditation retreat. So in my understanding, the Buddhism without meditation is something quite incomplete. So meditation is essential part in this Buddha's teaching, and therefore we are really following the teaching of the Buddha. And as far as the meditation is concerned, it has 2 sects or 2 branches, namely insight meditation and the concentration meditation. So for both, most important proximate factor is the mindfulness. So therefore I would like to make this retreat dedicated for mindfulness. For that only we are trying to give instructions. As far as mindfulness is concerned, one can incorporate mindfulness into one's life in 3 ways. Firstly, in the intensive method, and the second is semi-intensive method, and the third is the extensive method. So I would like to give basically instructions on the intensive method and try to expand it further little to the semi-intensive and the extensive method. As far as the intensive method of understanding and incorporation of the mindfulness into one's life is concerned, it is what we call the sitting meditation. For the sitting meditation, the particular yogi, the practitioner, has to make a lot of comfortable and conducive conditions at the outset of the meditation. That is why we have taken some leave and complete days of allocation for the meditation, and then we have to come to a forest like this and find a suitable meditation hall like this, and these are the external factors that we have to make sure. According to the word of the Buddha, it is called aranyagato rukkhamulagato sunyagara. Either one has to go to a forest or under a tree or to a solitude place. Each one of us know how much it is costing for one to have this kind of a solitude. So therefore it is nothing to overemphasize. And once that macroclimate is confirmed, you have to think about or take care about the microclimate. That is to say, in a day we have basically 4 cardinal postures: sitting posture, standing, walking and lying down. Out of these 4, for the intensive method, the Buddha recommends this sitting posture. This is the microclimate that you have to make sure at the outset of this meditation. And therefore we keep the image of the Buddha who has depicted the most comfortable relaxed posture in his sitting way. So each one of us has to at the best assume the same posture if possible, that is to sit in cross-legged. And you can easily observe there's a triangle touching the ground, so that it make a very firm establishment on the ground. In a way, the posture of the hands are concerned, once you keep the hand in such a way, your total configuration appear like a pyramid in Cairo, or like an anthill, or like a Dagaba or Cheti. So that is the most established posture in the architectural model. So we make it at the outset. Those who have these physical problems, and due to the old age, if impossible, they have to make the bodily posture comfortable at the beginning. So we are taking this cross-legged posture as the most ideal position, and with that only I would like to give the talk. But anyway, if someone is finding difficult to sit in that way, one has to make a comfortable posture. Whatever may be, once you've taken the posture, it must be symmetrical, so that the balance must be there from the right to the left. And you mildly close your eyes and try to focus the attention inwardly, or otherwise you pay the attention to the sitting posture and try to relax each and every muscle. So these two alignment, that is to say, the symmetrical nature, the balanced nature between the left and the right, and relaxed muscles are a good start. So you have to make it sure, scanning through your body or sweeping through your body, as to see whether you have closed your eyes in too tight way, or you keep the back neck muscles in a tightened way, or back muscles. Relax consciously. And the first and foremost thing in the fixation of the mindfulness is you just pay the attention to your relaxed body posture. If it is a success, 3 positive characters and 3 negative characters you can recognize. Internally, whenever you become mindfully, here, now, I am, will be established. If you are not here, that means you are wandering off in another places, your office or your room or your house, whatever may be. That is, you are deranged and dislodged. So you have to make it sure you are here. That means your body posture. And you are now, that means you are not worrying about the past and the future. And if it is, your mind is engaged in the past and the future, you are no more now. And even though 50, 60 people are sitting around you, you are not concerned about the others, you take the attention to myself. That is what it said, does it mean, here now I am. So when that is confirmed, you may feel the bodily posture must not be painful one. That is what the comfort and the relaxed nature is meant for. And outside noises must not be distracting. And your mind must not be wandering, daydreaming and fantasizing. So when these things happen, you can understand and you can make sure that mindfulness is now established, at least at the level of here and now I am. Not only through the mindfulness, you can justify this thought moment through the loving kindness also. This may be the thought moment you are living with yourself. Most of the time you are not concerned, you are not concerned about the well-being of you, you are not making any loving kindness to your body, so therefore it runs mad, imbalanced and sick, mentally and physically. So this is a kind of a thought moment you give, here now I am, and you are totally with yourself. This is not only through the mindfulness, even through the loving kindness you are justifying this very moment. So try to keep in your bodily posture totally here and now as long as possible. That is a good start of the establishment of the mindfulness in sitting posture. This means your consciousness, your mind is no more extrovert. It is now becoming introvert, and when that happens, most of the people we will come with the experience of breathing, the life force. Whenever the mind becomes introvert, that is one of the most prominent natural phenomena happening. So whenever it becomes introvert, you may feel, you may come face to face with the breath. If that is the case, you can just be with the breath instead of making the thought moment with here now I am. You are replacing the here now I am with the breathing if it is just coming along your way. And when that happens, you have to make sure you are not going for forced breathing. It must be natural breathing, you are just observing. When you are observing this natural breathing, you may find, if you are keen, the breathing usually effectively takes place on your upper part of the body. So you may try to just forget about the lower part of the body. Let the lower part of the body to maintain by itself. That is why at the beginning you made sure that symmetric and the balanced nature, and you are just focusing onto the upper part of your body. Natural breathing, you just observe as it happens. So this is a very good sound calibration, tuning towards the mindfulness. It is more than here now I am. You are focusing as the in-breath happens, you know it is in-breath. As the out-breath happens, you know as out-breath. So this is itself is enough. But anyway, if you have the quick wit, if you have a sharp mind, still you can see or you can feel what is the most prominent point within the upper part, when and where in-breath and out-breath is happening. What is the most conspicuous point, what is the most rubbing point that you can see just by observing. So accordingly you can find what is the most prominent point when it is happening at the uppermost part of your respiratory tract, that is the end of your nostrils or top of your upper lip. Then you are qualified to say you are a yogi doing anapanasati, mindfulness on in-breath and out-breath. Some instead may see the movements of the diaphragm, that is the lowermost part of your respiratory tract, and then you may see as the in-breath happens, the rising of the abdomen, and when the out-breath happens, the falling of the abdomen. So what you should follow must be decided definitely and only by the conspicuous nature of the phenomena, the prominency of the phenomena. You must not have any premeditated idea as to I must go and chase behind the in-breath and out-breath or rising and falling. Let it happen by its own accord. So therefore, if you are a beginner, you have to take 2-3 sittings, then only you can understand what is the natural place where you feel the breath most prominently. Accordingly, you can decide what is the most touching point. So whatever may be, once you selected that touching point, your attention is now rather one-pointed so that you can forget about the whole upper part and concern only on that touching point. For example, if you have selected the in-breath and out-breath on the nostrils, you can feel as the in-breath happens, the rubbing sensation and the expansion, stiffness, tension, movements or whatever may be at the nostril, or whenever the out-breath happens, still you can feel it. So your attention is slowly now focused and directed to one point. Equally, if you are looking at the in-breath and out-breath. So this is the theoretical maximum you can expect. Of course, when it is happening, outside sounds and thoughts and pains come and distract you. So when these are happening, don't try to consider as it is one of your weakness or defilement. It's natural for anyone to confront with these kind of distractions. Whenever they happen, you have to just see they are just coming to go off. So therefore, whenever it is happening, don't try to antagonize it, don't try to react. Just see, whenever it is ceases to exist, you again go back to the breath as a completely a beginner. Always you are developing, as appreciating the beginner's mind. Meanwhile, you may be observe in a diagnostic manner what is the most prominent distraction as to thought or sounds or pain or sleepiness or whatever may be. So what is the most frequent distraction will rather indicate who you are rather than the primary object. So therefore you are observing this distraction in a diagnostic way, not to antagonize it, not to get rid of. For example, if you are a kind of a person often distracted by thoughts, that is kind of one of your character trait. And if it is sound, that is the case in some other people. Yet another person may come out and say, my main distraction is the pain. So these are our character traits. So understand who am I, this is also invariably, in the indirect way, help you if you are not antagonizing it. So these are the basic ways you are improving and cultivating as a beginner when you are establishing the mindfulness. So it itself will take few sittings for you to come to the more suitable and productive, effective way. So it's a noble quest you have to do. You can't read it by books, or you can't repeat others' experience. So therefore that investment is very important. That is what we do in sitting meditation. But as far as the total effort toward the mindfulness is concerned, sitting meditation is not the only way possible. Though it is asking for very conducive conditions and more effective and very intensive, you have to balance it with walking meditation. That is what I mentioned as the semi-intensive method. And there, the walking meditation is, you are walking up and down, pacing up and down in a straight stretch of land. That is enough for 30 to 40 steps, a level land, straight land. And you are pacing up and down, eyes are open, though it is downcasted. And the walking path may be internal or external, so external other sounds and wind movements and other kind of thing also may be distracting. And there you are in a walking posture, so hardly you feel any bodily pains when compared to sitting meditation. So it's a good alternative. So while you are doing walking meditation, you first assume the standstill position and bring the attention to, here now I am standing, kind of a thought moment, and then just walk in this determined stretch in the normal speed, just to have a good blood circulation and some kind of a balance exercise to your body. Specifically, if you are after getting up from the early morning or from sitting meditation, it will be very nice to have a brisk walking at the beginning. And then few minutes time you can come and assume the same standing posture, and then not like in sitting meditation, in the walking meditation you ignore the upper part of the body and pay the attention to the lower part of the body, and therefore you keep the arms bound in front or behind you. And then while walking you try to pay the attention to the intentionally active leg, for example right leg, you just see the movements of the right leg, at least the touch of the ground. So there you forget about the left leg, the upper part of the body, rest of the world. Try to feel the right leg, one thing at a time, and that done well. Once that is established, you will go to the left leg, and there you would see from beginning to the middle to the end, experience it, at least the touch. In the sitting meditation, your attention is one place and the mindfulness is continuous with the same place. But in the walking meditation, it changes. Left to the right, right to the left. So when this is happening, you try to maintain the mindfulness as the touching point changes, and you go with the normal speed. Do not try to slow down or speed up. And keep the eyes not on your legs, but about 5 to 6 feet ahead of you. Don't look at the object directly. in front of you also. And when that happens, you may find mindfulness is little difficult to establish because of the distractions, but it is characteristics of the exercise. When you go to the other end, definitely your already developed mindfulness will be scattered off. And when you turn back again, you have to start like a beginner. So likewise, if you happen to develop a certain amount of mindfulness, that will be more durable than the sitting. So therefore it is lasting. So this indicates why it is being recognized as semi-intensive method. And this is very good. The sitting, walking meditation is very good. You have to start with at the beginning of the day, just after the getting up from the bed, and after a sitting meditation, and after a meal. Because that otherwise, if you are going directly to the sitting, after a nice sleep, or after a meal, the slimy mind, the sloth and torpor will disturb you. But the walking meditation is really recharging the battery, so it is quite helpful for someone to arouse energy. And the best thing is always to make a rule of thumb, so that you must do walking meditation first and come and sit. Then the same mindfulness you develop will be continuing the sitting meditation. So these two has to go hand in hand. So your meditative life will not be rather regimentation, it will be like a hobby. So you have to find a balance. It take fairly a good amount of exercises or research, or you have to do it yourself. So once you develop certain amount of mindfulness in the walking meditation, it is conducive and helpful definitely for the sitting meditation. Not only that, it will give some certain hints for you to develop mindfulness in your busy day-to-day life also. In a busy day-to-day life, if you are doing a multitasking and socialized events, difficult to start with. So therefore, if you are going for semi-intensive to the extensive method, that is day-to-day affairs, you must start with events where you do it by yourself, you are limited to yourself. So these things you can do little slowly, so that make it a point to be mindful. So in my life, always I remind, when my teacher introduced me, he told me, when you brush your teeth, wash your face, and do your toiletries, try to be mindful, because it is you are doing by yourself. Do little slowly. Make a point daily to determination to be mindful. And the most important and very dramatic thing he introduced me was, listen to your own sounds. So if you are listening, you can understand while you are doing your job, you are making maybe you are doing unwanted rattling noises. That means you are distracted. Whenever you are listening to yourself, even without reducing the noise, the introvert attention happens. So therefore, in the day-to-day activities, you have to do slowly, mindfully and silently. And slowly you find what are the events, what are the places, what are the incidents where you can start with. And when that happens slowly, it gathers the momentum, and you will slowly can understand, even in the fairly busy states also, you can be mindful. When that happens, it is in return helpful for your day-to-day activities. So that is how all the three has to come in a reciprocal manner, helping each other. So these are the instruction I would like to share with you all as far as the beginner is concerned. So try to incorporate them as much as possible and without much of acceleration. Just do in the normal pace, because it takes time. So thank you very much for listening.